faces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. With sympathy.
Evening, everyone. Evening, spur of the moment show tonight. I was supposed to be going out, but that was cancelled. So I thought, well, what are we going to do? Well, let's just do one of these to talk a little bit more about the home and aways, which are a bit of fun stories. There'll probably be one more next week, and that'll be the end of this little series. But talk about an unusual one. Well, there's actually a few unusual ones tonight. I picked out a few silly ones. Well, not they weren't silly, but different. So 1981, at Highbury, UEFA Cup, Panathinaikos come to town, and they all day were just causing trouble everywhere. They were just here for just trouble. And they had brought a lot of fans. Over 6,000 reported had come to North London to watch the game. And yeah, madness. Absolute bloody madness. This lot were absolute lunatics. Serious lunatics. Really bad. The police were tied up all around North London, all around Islington anyway, all day. They were just, wow. Pubs were getting done and shops getting looted. And it's just craziness, really. Arsenal won 1-0. There was a running pitch battle between this lot. They were trying to get to the North Bank, but this was when the fences had gone up in the 70s, and they literally were trying to pull them down. Seriously, there was blokes. I remember being in the North Bank, right, and there was people actually up there hanging off, trying to like bounce them like this. People below them pulling their legs. It's just craziness, really nasty. They were nasty bunch of fans. They seriously were a nasty bunch of fans. But Arsenal got away with that 1-0, and that was the game. The game was pretty dire. It was not a great game. It's not worth talking about, to be fair. But outside of the ground, after that game, there was all kinds of trouble for a good 2 hours afterwards, bottles getting thrown. And the interesting point is where the hell they got the bottles from. That is the thing. And there used to be, not far away from Highbury, there used to be one of these milk distribution places where, the old milkman would go out at 4:30 in the morning, deliver your milk. Apparently, they'd broken in there and nicked all these milk bottles, empty, obviously. And one of the things they were doing, which is pretty nasty, they were pissing in them, right? Which was, not good, is it? And just luzzing them at the Arsenal and outside of the ground. And it was just absolute carnage. I remember the next day looking and seeing the amount of glass everywhere. There was glass everywhere. And, I can't imagine what it was like if you had a car in the next morning when you've got to actually get up and go to work at whatever time. God knows, it shreds your tyres to pieces. It was shocking. Seriously shocking. And that morning, I'm led to believe the local Islington Council had workers down there with road sweepers, people sweeping up the glass, cars were vandalised. This guy was an absolute bunch of absolute nightmare clowns. Seriously, they just did not give a shit. They were going to do whatever they wanted to cause trouble. I don't even think they really came for the football. I think they came just to cause trouble. Seriously, I honestly do believe that. They were as noisy as hell in the ground. There's one guy there who I just wish he could, somebody slap, he had one of these bloody drum things. Boom, 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 boom. I just wish somebody had got hold of that and slashed the bloody thing. It was so bloody annoying. It was so annoying. But Arsenal got away 1-0, 1-0 win, and it was a dire game. Let's be honest. It's not good. So we move on. Now, this is what you really call a bad day out. Bad day out. I'm going to talk to you and give you some information about travelling up the M1. Now, the M1, obviously, for anybody abroad who doesn't know England at all, the M1 was a motorway. It was the first motorway ever built in Britain, which was basically goes up the spine of the centre spine of England, right up to damn near Scotland, and it was the first major arterial route in Great Britain of 3 lanes. And as it developed, they started to build motorway services, and so you'd have one. If you're going north, you'd have one on the left. If you're coming south, you had one on the right. And they had interlinking bridges over the motorway. Now, one of the infamous ones was the Blue Boar services, just outside, not far from Watford. And it was quite famous because in the 60s, when you had the travelling, very upcoming rock bands, they'd be, back in them days, the rock bands be travelling up in their vans, maybe one van, maybe 2, with all their equipment and the band in one, and they'd be going up north, and literally, because they had no money, they might travel to Manchester, play a gig, and then travel back, and vice versa. Now, what used to happen, apparently, I never witnessed it, but what happened was bands going up north and bands coming back south late at night, right, would walk across the crossway bridges over the motorway, right? And if there was a band with better equipment than your band, they used to break into the bloody van, nick the equipment, and piss off. Now, you can imagine, I mean, I just can't imagine that happening, to be honest with you. But you imagine if you're a band, a young, small band with no money, you're living off baked beans, cold baked beans, to try and set up your big rock band or whatever type of music it was, and that sort of thing happens. It must have been an absolute nightmare. So there was trouble there from day one. Now, the day I'm going to talk to you about was we used to have this rickety old flipping transit. It was a piece of shit, seriously. And we had it for a few years up to about 87. Now this is 1984. Okay, we are going up to Burnley to Turf Moor. Division 1 game. It might have been a cup game. I can't remember now. But we're going up there, and we always used to pull into the Blue Boar. So we pulled in there, right? And there was never, ever enough police about. Yeah. So we've pulled in there, and there's 12 of us, including the driver. And now you got to imagine this van. It's an old Ford Transit sort of minivan, bus, whatever you want to call it. It was, how it ever got through an MOT, I'll never know to this day. But we've got in there, and we've decided we're going to have something to eat, breakfast. This is about 9 o'clock, maybe in the morning. So maybe 10 o'clock, maybe 10. So we've pulled up, we've got in, got out, gone up there, and we always used to do like a sort of check around like across the road. So we'd go up onto the gantry, and it's a covered gantry with glass and a roof and all that. And we'd see who's like anybody about. And we saw in the car park these 6 or so buses, all from Stoke, and we're like, oh Jesus Christ, it's Stoke. And as we know, we talked about it previously in a previous show, they were a proper awkward lot. And so we thought, well, we'll just stay low key, and we'll move away. Unbeknownst to us, right, when we got to just outside our side of the Blue Boar services, okay, there was like 300, not Stoke, Port Vale, the lunatic fringe, well-known firm for causing trouble. And we're like, oh Christ. And there was probably about 50 police there. And we thought, well, this is never going to get controlled. And we thought, this is going to go horribly, horribly, horribly wrong. And it did. It did. And so it was like, what do we do? How are we going to get out of this? And so we literally tried to go a little bit secret squirrel and get into the Blue Boar services. I mean, we were like real proper hungry. All we wanted was a bacon roll and a cup of tea or whatever. We decided we weren't going to have a sit-down breakfast. We're just going to get out, get in the van and go. But anyway, what was happening was this lot from Port Vale were up the front by the services, not doing anything. So the police really couldn't do anything. But what they were doing, right, they were going around the car park looking for fans. And of course, what do they spot? A rickety old bloody transit van. So we could see this lot looking at the van, and we thought, yeah, we know what's coming here. And it was a very, very uncomfortable feeling at the time. We couldn't get to the van because they were there. And we knew if we approached that van, they're going to come on us. And we are way, way outnumbered. Way outnumbered. We are going to get a serious kick in. There's not enough police. The police are up by the actual entrance to the Blue Boar services. They're not letting them get in there. They're trying to get them back across the motorway to actually get back to their own coaches going south. And so what do we do? So we decided that we'd move away and just hopefully wait it out. And that's all we could do. But all of a sudden, right, we're there. And in comes this probably, I don't know, 3-4 coaches. And it was Chelsea. And, they came into the coach park. They've got off the bus. They're giving it the big one. And so the Port Vale obviously heard all this. They started to go down there. The police came down, tried to put a barrier between them, and they all kicked off. They all absolutely kicked off, and it was like madness. They had more police vans turning up, but it did us a favour because it enabled us to get out of our I say we weren't hiding, we just weren't getting anywhere close. And we actually managed to get away and get in the van and piss off. And the stupid thing is, as we were doing that, right, I mean, back now, these firms are getting pretty organised. Two of the guys at the back of our van, right, our minibus, had the old back opening doors, if people get in the back. We're giving it all a large to not only Port Vale lunatic fringe, but also the Chelsea firm. And they start chasing our bloody minibus. Now, this minibus, right, is probably the slowest vehicle in the world. You put it in first gear, and you'd be lucky if you get it up to 6 miles an hour, and then you crunch it into second, and you'll probably get to about 12 miles, 15 miles an hour. And this lot of chasing, chucking crap at the van, and one of the back windows gets smashed. Nobody got hurt, thankfully, but yeah, that was a bad day out. But that same day, SG says, Jez, which firms was the worst you ever experienced? Undoubtedly, it would have been the F Troop, then became the Bushwhackers at Millwall. I'm going to talk about one of them games later. The ICF, West Ham, and Stoke away, 0-40. They were just horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And the Zulus at Birmingham, I talked about last night, where they were throwing 10p coins with Stanley knife blades super glued like that. So like those ninja star things. And that's how I got ejected from. If you haven't watched it last night, that's how I got innocently ejected from Molineux, by picking a dart out the back of my leg, because it landed in there. It didn't do any damage, but I picked it out, had it in my hand, and the steward saw me, and I was out the door. And that was, if you haven't watched that one, go and watch it. I explain it all in that one. But the Semble says, even Jez and the chat room, even to you, my friend. Jose says, is Tony Tapolovich the right person to replace Oliver Kahn? I have no idea, mate. Wouldn't have a clue. I don't watch European football, my friend. Carl says, gifted one Arsenal history and more membership. Carl, you're relentless, but thank you, my friend, for that. And E. Ross, the Assemble, big up to the E. Ross, man. You're a top fella, man. Always. Carl says, Jose Gardulia, Kane, mate, you have been repeating that comment since yesterday. Enough. Well, fair enough. I hadn't seen that, but there you go. Paul Summerfield, cheers at Carl Rossi, legend. I guess he's gifted you a membership. I hope he has. And that's brilliant. Carl's a top fella, man. Yeah, it's Paul. Carl says, at Paul Summerfield, you're very welcome, mate, and big up to you. We were talking last night. If you haven't watched the show last night, right? God. Now, I did a show with the Yeti. Yeah. He was an absolute madman last night. I only like doing an hour max. 2 hours, over 2 hours we went on for. God knows what we talked about at the end. I have no clue. But apparently a lot of people said it was funny. But yeah, if you haven't watched that one, go and watch it, because it was madness. I just wanted to end now. Come on, that's it. We talked what we were talking about. Let's bugger off now. No, we kept going. And we kept going. And in the end, it was me. I said, right, we'll do one more 15 minutes. Right, one more 15 minutes. And it went into another hour. So it's 2 hours and the last hour, I'm pretty certain we talked absolute bullshit. But there you go. It happens. And it was funny. I'll be honest, it was funny. Danny, mate, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Top fella. Had a good, nicer chat with you earlier. Lovely stream, Jess. International breaks and nothing football-wise. My most dangerous match was away at AS Roma. AS Roma away. Stab City, but nothing comes close to the 70s, 80s violence. No, yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, actually. How it started go a different way. Hang on, got to show that. Where's it gone? Static, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. And Carl says, very generous of you, Danny. Danny is top man, mate. Carl, he's a legend, man. And we were talking I know one of the subjects we were talking about last night was a Christmas show I'm going to be doing. There's going to be me and 9 other guests, and I'm going to twist and keep twisting Rossi's arm to come on. And I might have Gracie May coming on as well, which would be nice. I haven't seen Gracie for such a long time. Yeah, club over country, always international breaks, shit. Yeah, mate, I'm fed up with them. Seriously, yeah, I just get fed up with them, man. You start getting into, you're getting your clubs, getting into a run, whatever reason, and then all of a sudden, no, rubbish, bloody international football. Boring, boring, boring. Danny says, at Carl Rossi, by the way, nice stream with you, Mama Flossie on the Yeti's channel. Yeah, the Yeti, man. He's an absolute, the Yeti is a class guy, man. Class guy. Anyway, let's move on. Now, so we've had this drama. We've had this drama at the Blue Boar. You know, it's the day started bad. Absolutely bad. E. Ross says, big up, Jez, love the channel, pal. Thank you, mate. Thank you for that. And so off we go. And actually thinking about it, no, it worked. No. That's another story I was going to mention, but I decided not to talk about that one. We're off up to Old Trafford. We're off up to Old Trafford, actually. And so we get up there, and one of the worst days this has turned out now. So we park up near Old Trafford. If you've ever been to Old Trafford, right, back in the day, it still is, actually. It is still a shithole. It is, seriously. This is Carl says that was actually a brilliant show. One more thing, Jess. Yeah, mate. He got me every time, the bugger. Nice CT streamer Jetty. Anyway, so there we are. Right, there we are. We're at Old Trafford, right, and there's about 7,000 Arsenal there. I guess. I mean, I don't know the exact figures. I'm just guessing by what's going on. And the Red Army, who were probably one of the first big proper firms, Man United firm, were all over the place. They were everywhere, and it is kicking off all. Literally, you walk. Literally, honestly, you'd be walking around the area, yeah, and you'd have groups of 10, 12, 20, 30 blocking the, on corners, right? And if you ever watched the classic British sitcom Coronation Street, it's just like that. You do not want to get yourself down a bloody alleyway because you are dead meat. You've got to stay together. You've got to have a lot of people about you, otherwise you are deep in the shit. But the problem was, if you by doing that, you're going to be spotted. So what do? It's either death by 2 of you or death by 40 of you. So you've got to be together. It's one of them things. So you just got to go through it. And so not only have we had shit in the morning, right, at 9, 10 in the morning, we're now getting it at like 2 o'clock. So the only option you've really got with all that crap coming on you is to get to the ground as quickly as you can and try and get within the perimeter of the police. Now, the Arsenal firms, they're not interested. They want to have a ruck, right? They really want it. They're up for it, right? So they're there, and it's just going around. And there was some pretty bad stuff going on that day. There was a couple of instances where smoke flares were thrown at opposing fans, bottles, all kinds of shit was going down, and we just literally ducking and diving away here, way there. But we did get to this one point where we were literally blocked. We were literally blocked on this road because we tried to go around the back alley, not the alleyways, but around the back roads, and we came across some of the Red Army, and there was probably 20 of them, and it was only 12 of us. But as we were like there looking to go back again, about 30, maybe 40 Arsenal came up behind, A bit like that classic scene in the GSE film, and it just went mental. Now, we had that day to fight. I was never a fighter, but that day we had to fight. We had no option because we were going to get seriously kicked in. And it was a pretty awful situation. I got slapped about and everything, and it wasn't the first time I've had a punch and broke a couple of broken ribs, but you had no option. You had no option, and it wasn't that bad, but it's not what you go there for. I certainly didn't go there for any of that. And anyway, it all basically went off and calmed down, and they went one way and we followed them, and they moved on, and we were then thinking, oh Christ, they're going to meet up with more their Red Army lot, and then we're going to get another sort of kicking, if you like. But no, we got to where Old Trafford was, and I don't think in an open area of around Old Trafford football ground I've ever seen so many police in my life. It was unbelievable. It was just they were everywhere. So anyway, we get into where we got to be, and we were like cordoned off, and it was still going off. The Red Army was still kicking up and basically trying to get through the cordons. The Arsenal firms were trying to get through the cordons, and eventually we get in the ground. More trouble was in the grounds, but bearing in mind the fences then were up to stop people getting on the pitch. But the joy of the day, really, yeah. The Arsenal firm were trying to get in, the Man United in, and the Man United Red Army were trying to get in the Arsenal away end, and it was just absolutely, this was happening every sodding week now. Every sodding week this was happening, and you're like, for real football fans. And the problem was, what had happened, there was a lot of hooligans who were just purely hooligans. They weren't there for the football. They never watched the sodding games. All they wanted was a kickoff. And this got worse and worse and worse. And it started to piss a lot of us off. Like, come on, guys, we never said it to him, of course, but just go away. We don't want you here because we just want to watch the game. And you could tell they weren't interested, because they'd be there and they'd have their, literally, if Man United or Tottenham or Chelsea got in the North Bank, right? Yeah, got in the corner. They weren't watching the game. They had their backs to the game because they're looking at that lot. And it was so bloody annoying. We'd just rather say, look, if you want to have a good old scrap, go to the industrial estate, which is now Ashburton Grove, where the Emirates is, and have a kick-off down there. Because we don't want you here, really. We actually want to watch the game and enjoy it without having to keep turning our backs. But, that's how it was back then. Mitch says, would you take Southgate at Arsenal? Nope. Not at all. Carl Rossi, I'll be there, matey. Yeah, you will. I'm going to twist your arm, that's for sure. Darren Sullivan says, get on, Rossi. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a fun night. It's just going to be talk about whatever we want to talk about. Talk about turkeys, talk about guitars, talk about music, football, doesn't matter. Jism Good, not happy with the international break. Nor am I, mate. Nor am I. I'm one of these people. I actually agree with Lee Gunner, right? You've got the top 16 teams, right? All seeded, right? People like San Marino, Moldova, whoever. Yeah? Just let them fight it out. You can televise it if you want, but you don't have to take out all your best players or players out and shut the whole of Premier League football down. Well, the whole of European football down. I'll be interested to know, actually, how the South Americans and all that lot feel about it. I bet they're pretty pissed off because they're passionate people about their football. But, yeah, I can't be dealing with it, man. Static says, Jesu, a Christmas show? Yeah, That's going to be on 23rd, I think it is. I think that's what we said. Of December, obviously. Static says that Darren Sullivan, hey man, facts for before. Win, lose, or draw, Arteta out. Yep. And he's going to get fined, isn't he? He's going to get fined. Good. He's not going to worry about it, though, is he? Let's be fair. Much love, Jez. Tuning in from work. Love yesterday's stream, and it really helps get through a slow day at work. You and Yeti are real ones. Yeah, that was a mad show, man. Seriously. That Yeti, he's got a lot to answer to. Seriously. Yeah, he's a bad man. No, he's a lovely guy, actually. He's a top fella, man. Static says that Carl De Rossi. Hey, don't worry, we'll do it together. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, no worries. Elias says, be up, my friend Jez. Be up to you, mate. How you doing? How's your channel going, man? Let me know how it's going out, and I'll shout you out. Darren says, what year, Jez? What year? What, the Christmas show, mate? Or what year you talked about Arteta? Yeah, Arteta, I want gone. Well, I want him gone by the end of the season, man. Seriously, Darren, I really do. Had enough now. Macy says, what's up, Jez? I heard in transfer news that Socrates has joined Real Betis. Good. Yeah, I haven't got a problem with that. I haven't got a problem with that. Sushil S. OT is still awful, mate. I'm saying that as a United fan, but the atmosphere is so much better back then. Well, yeah. Old Trafford, yeah. I mean, it was a fantastic atmosphere. It was, but it wasn't a nice place to go. It was not a nice place to go. I mean, the Red Army were notorious. I remember watching a TV program, actually. It was Man United Norwich City. It's a documentary thing. It was all about, this is back in the late 70s. It was all about hooliganism and all that. And Man United had gone to Norwich, and it was kicking off with the Norwich lot. And Norwich had a firm. Unbelievable. They had a proper firm. And it was just a nightmare everywhere. And there's one classic bit of filming where there's a Man United fan on the roof of the Norwich home end, right? And he's ripping the roof up and throwing it down on the Norwich fans. Yeah. And I think it was the old style of asbestos corrugated sort of sheeting. I think it was. I don't know. But it does shows how thick this guy was, right? So he's ripping these sheets up. He's stamping on them and throwing them down, which is very, those sheets, if they're broken, they're as sharp as, really sharp. Plus, it's dangerous with all the bloody asbestos particles flying about. But this guy gets to such a point, right? Yeah. He's right on. So this is the roof, right? So this is the front of the terrace here, yeah. So there's the pitch over here, right? Yeah. This guy has broken all this roof up, yeah, and he's now stuck on the corner and can't go anywhere. And he's like 50, 60 foot up in the air. I mean, how thick are you to do that? He's just been ripping the roof off, throwing it down, doing this, doing that. Now, for those of you who are probably as old as me, which won't be many of you, you may remember that the Man United crews used to wear white boiler suits with the old 12 lace-up Doc Martens, and that was their sort of uniform, if you like. And they'd wear the old scarves around the wrists and all that, Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, man. It was, I mean, they were mad people. But it is what it is, and it was those days. Warren's Team Talk. Hi, Jez. How are you, mate? I'm good, Warren. Go and support the Warren's Team Talk TV. Next show tomorrow, I believe, at 2:30, where Warren does an amazing show talking about all the games and scores and who's got sent off, who's been beaten up. It's a great show, actually. Go and watch that. Go and sub to Warren's TV team. Got my teeth tonight. TV Team Talk. It's a great show, man. Yeah, so anyway, move on. So that happened. Old Trafford. It's absolutely, yeah, a bore festive game. Ends up 0-0. So we travelled all that way with all that drama up at Blue Boar against the Port Vale bloody crew, the lunatic fringe. Then we meet up with the bloody Red Army, and we sit there for like 90 plus minutes for 0-0, and then we've got a 5 hour drive back. Yeah, that's not what I'd call a great day out, to be fair. It is just, I suppose, football, isn't it? Macy says, finally, Arteta's getting fined. He should be very afraid now. He won't care, man, about that. Nothing to him. Nothing to him. Jars says, Jez, why aren't you watching England? Because they're crap and it's boring, mate. That's why. I can't stand international football. It's just boring. Especially with our manager, Gareth Southgate. I mean, I saw the team he put earlier and I'm thinking, why? Why? It's just crap. Drew Gunner says, I was never allowed to Millwall away when I was a kid. My granddad refused to take me. Well, that's not a bad move, to be fair. So we're just going to talk about a team very, very, pretty much as bad, in fairness, as Millwall. Leeds United, the service crew. Their firm was called the Service Crew. And they had calling cards, bit like Millwall, bit like the West Ham ICF. And so we've gone up there. This is 94, 95. And Arsenal lose 1-0. And it's right, the second game of the season, actually. So it's 1994. We lose 1-0. And no trouble at all getting to the game. It was okay, not a problem. During the game, oh my days. Don't forget, after Hillsborough, the tragic disaster there between Nottingham Forest and Liverpool in the semi-final of the FA Cup, all the fences have come down. So it's all access all areas, basically. Which, it was one of them things the government had to make a decision, and because of the tragedies of the 97 people that died in that horrendous incident, they had to basically take all the fencing away. So there we are, Ellen Road. Now, Ellen Road, yeah, been there a few times. Not a nice area, really not. As you know, back, you've got to remember, a lot of this, no disrespect, a lot of industrial towns, cities, their main football ground were in, how can I put this nicely, lower class living areas. So it caused an issue. It caused an issue, and it was not a nice. It was not a nice day out up there. Anyway, game's going on. It's all kicking off. We lose 1-0. You can imagine what's going on. So yeah, it all went badly wrong. We got out there high and quick, and away we went. And yeah, I'm just glad we got out there, fella, because it was not a good week. Not a good week at all. Darren says, was this midweek 86, 7 or 8? What one you talking about, mate? Are you talking about Leeds? That was it. I'm talking about 94. So I don't know. I don't know what you're on about, man. And I normally do it straight with away static. Don't know, man. I have Avenel Reds. Oh, you lived in Avenel Road where I lived, mate. Man United never came in the North Bank, mate. What you? Really? Really? You telling me they never got in the North Bank? Yeah. Do you remember 1978 in the North Bank when the Red Army were in there? Are you going to tell me? This is a fucking clown. This has got me Pete Hayward here, isn't it? I can tell you many, many times that Man United got in the North Bank. I can tell you when fucking Millwall did, fella. So don't try and put it on me. I mean, yeah. Oh no, there he is. There he is. That was Millwall, mate. White border suits. Go and check your history, you clown. It was Man United with the 12 lace up fucking Doc Martens and the with the red, white, and black scarves on the wrists. Really, mate? Fuck off out of here because you don't know fuck all about what I'm talking about. And if you're going to sit here and just talk bollocks, you can piss off right off because I've got no time for idiots like you. Millwall white boiler suits. Really? Jesus Christ. Yeah. Send me a picture of that. Send me a picture. I'd love to see it. Honestly, you get these absolute clowns that come in here, really, and going to try and question me about. You were never there, fella, Avenel Reds. You were never there. And what is Avenel Reds? There's no such thing as Avenel Reds. Never existed. What, you were a one-man firm? Really? I think you might want to go and check what you're talking about. They were called the Herd, right? And I know the guy that actually started the Herd, right? And I also know the guy that ran the Gooners and two other top boys there. So don't come in here and talk to me bullshit, fella, because you know it's it's crap. Seriously, you weren't there at the games, so you've got nothing to talk about. Macy says that motherfucker Avenel Red, get out of Jez's stream right now, mate. I'm sure that's probably Pete Haywood. These absolute little clowns. Seriously, he wasn't there. He's probably about 14. You know what I'm saying? Get Avenel Reg to tell Millwall they wore boiler suits. Exactly. Millwall, Anfield Red, were notorious for wearing donkey jackets because majority of them worked at the fucking docks. So they wore donkey jackets. Do you know what a donkey jacket is, or are you not that old? Yeah? Heavy duty coat, came down to around the waist or lower, yeah, and it had like reinforced shoulder type situation. I used to have one actually. So fuck off, fella. You weren't there. You don't know anything about what you're talking about. Yeah, he's a top. He's a top gooner still. Yeah, he was a main man. That boy, really tough boy. Warren's team talk. I remember seeing a Leeds fan at Wembley who had blood spattered Union Jack wrapped around him. And it wasn't a few spots, it was a lot of blood. They also had T-shirts with Leeds colours on it. Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty horrible time, really. I mean, you know, that away day at Leeds United, man, I mean, after that game, it was a running battle. You were lucky to get out of there. You know, seriously. I mean, they'd beaten Arsenal 1-0. You'd think they weren't that bothered, but it was Arsenal that started all that. Be fair, it was a problem. But anyway, let's move on to something that somebody's just brought up. Millwall away, and yeah, never a good day out down there. So it's the FA Cup, 1995. Gone down to Millwall, and yeah, get into that ground. It is a serious problem. Not a good place. Walking through the housing estates, there's no other way to get there. Right? It's just you've got no option. Getting to New Cross, and then it's up to the new den as it was then. And yeah, I mean the old den was bad enough, but the new den was even bleeding worse, to be honest. So we get there, right? We get there. And everything is kicking off all around. Now, the entrance to the new den was a lot better to the old den. The old den was like walking through somebody's front door. Yeah. So you'd be queuing up to get in, and you'd have the Millwall lot all around. You have the F Troop there all the time, as they were called back then. Now they've changed their names to the Bushwhackers. So as you're walking down these streets, you've got people lobbing stuff out the windows of these flats, whatever. And it was a bloody horrible time, to be honest. I'd been there once before, and I went there this time. Football violence was starting to calm down, so you thought, well, maybe it ain't gonna be so bad. No, how wrong was I? It went on through the whole sodding game. Whole game. Now, Millwall also had another. I've mentioned this before. They had a firm called the Halfway Liners. These were like kids. 14, 15, 16, and they were nasty little wankers, to be honest. So anyway, there we go. We're at the game. It ends up 0-0. Now, getting there is one bad thing. Getting out is two bad things. So, getting out, police around, whatever, going up, but wherever you went to try, we were guided by the police, obviously, but people were just coming out of side roads, just throwing stuff. I know it sounds stupid, right? But this one chap behind me got hit on the head with a bloody cauliflower, which obviously dazed him a bit, but obviously wasn't going to kill him. But this is what this it was anything that could be done. So, anyway, so that was it. We got out there. No real dramas to any of us that I knew going there. Obviously, you had the Arsenal lot that wanted to kick on, but they didn't really. They didn't really, because they knew they were going to be so outnumbered in that deep south, as they would call it. So it was better just to walk away, get out, and go for another day. That was it, because it was just such a dodgy area, man. Seriously. Drew Gunner says there's always one who likes to be a special. There is no need for it. Just respect Jez and what he does. Do what it's that simple, mate. Clowns like that, I can roast them all day long. I'll tell you for why. Because if they want to question me about the facts of the firms, I'm no expert, but having seen them firsthand, I know what goes on. And when that little wanker says that it was Millwall that wore the white boiler suits, come back and prove it, mate. Avenel Reds. Who the hell are the Avenel Reds? I lived in Avenel Road, so I would have been one of the Avenel Reds. There is no such firm as the Avenel Reds. There was two firms, as I've told you before. It was the Herd, and you had the Gooners, and you also had a little side group called the NBA, the North Bank Army. But yeah, they make me laugh, to be honest, because they just talk absolute bollocks. They come in here, try and do it the big one, and they can't back it up. Macy says, I hate fake fans like Avenel Registers. Yeah, I mean, they're just attention seekers, man. Nowadays, I tend not to highlight them when I've got other people on the channel. When I'm doing my solos like this, I like to call them out and have a laugh with them, because it just shows what idiots and how thick they really are. If he knew his facts, he'd know that it was the Millwall crews that wore bloody wore the donkey jackets. Yeah, there we go. Never mind. Anyway, let's move on. Warren's team talk, Millwall away. I would advise anyone to do that. Would you? You'd advise it, Warren? I wouldn't. No, I know what you mean. Warren means he wouldn't advise that. E. Ross says, oh, where's that gone? Bloody chat tonight. E. Ross, the Bushwhackers, remember them in WWF. Well, they're in that, were they? Probably. Ian Barron, thanks at Jez. Yeah, thanks, man. Danny says, no one's likes us, we don't care. It's a good motto for them. Yeah, that's what he used to sing. That's what they said. They were a pretty evil, and they're still around, man. That's his opinion. Static, do mods get paid? No. No. Warren's team talk, Millwall away. I wouldn't advise anyone to do that. Yeah, that's what I know. I knew what you meant, Warren. I knew what you meant. It's not good. And Static says that's his opinion. Be nice and respectful to everyone, or you can leave. Absolutely, Static's on the case as always. Right. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So we talked about that. So Millwall come back to Highbury for the replay, and Arsenal we lose 2-0. We lose 2-0 to Millwall. Shock, absolute shock and dismay, and it kicked off in the grounds, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as the away, because at the end of the day, most of the Arsenal fans were so pissed off that they just like went home. It was an absolute shit show that we lost, and that was just before. That was George Graham, I think, had just gone, and I think Bruce Rioch was the manager then, and so it's just before Arsene Wenger came in 95, 96. So yeah, it was that was not a great day, but everybody just pissed off really. It's not a lot happened on that game, trouble wise, which is always a good thing. That's his opinion. Static Brother, I only care about the channel. I'm not happy as people not doing super chat and just commentating. Yeah, people don't have to do super chats to come in here, fella. It's not obligatory. I'm one of these people. I don't beg for super chats. There are some channels out there that will beg for super chats and all that. That's not me. At the end of the day, if people want to donate to me and highlight a comment, I'll read it out and I'll whatever. But yeah, it's one of them things. Danny, you were privileged to travel your team time and again. Yeah. Went on a few journeys, mate. And I have a show. I have one I was going to talk about, but she's not here. It's a Mama Flossie. So I'll leave that one for another day. So the last one I'm going to talk about was the same year of the Millwall debacle, was Hartlepool League Cup away, where Arsenal won 2-0. Now, I'd never beat a Hartlepool before. So that was always we're going somewhere new for a change. Never been up there. Well, never been to their ground, let's put it that way. So just going to start is coming. I'll come back to you, sure, on that one. And Henry Ray Baker Channel. Hi, mate. Hope you're well. Go and support Henry Ray Baker Channel, people. So we're up at Hartlepool. Got up there, no dramas, and there we are. Parked up, quirky little place, little ground. Wouldn't say it's the nicest of areas. Again, industrial town rather. So yeah. But anyway, so there we are, and we're just milling about, and we got there a bit too early, so we were actually starving. We didn't stop on the M1 on this occasion, so we're like, well, we can get something to eat. Now, we are definitely not going to go in a pub, right? You just never, ever, ever go in a pub near the ground, because if that's a home pub, when I say a home pub, it means you've got home fans in that pub. As soon as they hear your voice, right, you're in the shit. You are in the shit. So we're like milling about, walking around, and we see a cafe. And this cafe was like more like, how can I describe it? Like a curry house come cafe. Hard way to describe it. So we thought, well, we'll go in there. Walked in, lovely guy and his lady, and no problem at all. So we're in there having a lovely sort of fry up. I had a fry up. Other guys were having. One of our guys, he was a real experimenter. I wasn't so much back then, but he was a real experimenter. He had this Indian breakfast. And I have to be honest, it smelled. I mean, I love curry. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't really want it at midday, if you get my meaning. And he had it, and it was it smelt heaven. And I sort of regretted really that I didn't have it. But anyway, move on. Darren says Millwall away is one of the best games for atmosphere. I pray we get them every season in the cups. I would pay over £100 to attend. Well, good luck to you, Darren. That's not my time any days now. I think I've went there 3 times in my time and never enjoyed one of them. Be fair, but if that's your sort of thing, good luck to you, my friend. That's good luck to you. Danny says I'd never go Millwall away, as I always had my red gold scarf for games. They would, mate. You just don't wear colours. You don't. That was an unwritten law anyway back in the day. It's not so bad now. You can now. What happens now is if you are in a firm and you're looking for it, then it's all organised behind the scenes. You don't really get a lot of it at games so much because all the CCTV. There's so many police around, stewards, undercover police. It doesn't happen because as soon as the police see anything, they'll have you out of there. The amount of cameras everywhere and police walking around with video cameras, it just doesn't happen now, which is a good thing in my book. I didn't used to enjoy it. It was not a nice experience, to be honest with you. Drew Gunner says I was 5, 6 years old when the firms were knocking around in the mid-80s, so I love listening to Jez about all this stuff. Yeah, it was interesting, man, but it wasn't always a good day out, I can assure you. There were some pretty scary days. Darren says every Millwall fan at Highbury in the 2-0 defeat was a meathead. Yep, they were, and they were causing it all over the place. That's for sure. Static at this opinion. Okay, you have your point, but now there's no need to say any more about it. I don't know what's going on there. Have I missed something? Don't I? Oh, what's this? But this opening, Static brother, I respect you, but Jez need money to survive. Money comes from Super Chat. Jez is not doing a community service here. Mate, I appreciate your love for that, but I can assure you, man, I don't do this full time. I am retired and I do have my pensions. I appreciate your love. And if you want to donate £100 a show, I'll shake your hand all day long. But anyway, let's move this on. I'm not going to go for 2 hours tonight after last night. Okay. Ian Barron says, Jez, how far have you travelled to see an Arsenal game? Went to the Cup Winners' Cup in Copenhagen. Went there. Probably, I've never gone overseas for European Cup games very much. I'll tell you for why. I hate flying. So I'm not a great flyer. Went to the one in Paris, a semi-final against PSG at Stade de France or whatever it's called back then. But I'm not a great flyer, to be honest. It's not. It goes against the law of physics for me. Warren's team talk. Hartlepool's ground right across the road from the North Sea. Yeah, it's a bloody shithole area, man, to be honest. Not as bad as Hull, though. Hull, oh my days. The whole city's ground. Oh my. Ian Barron, Victoria Park, Hartlepool, Darlington FC rivals, Jez. Yeah, well, they would be, wouldn't they? You know what I'm saying? Warren's team talk. If you go in winter, it's horrible. Yep. Anyway, go through this chat as quick as I can. I did have one I was going to talk about, especially for Mama Flossie, but she's not here tonight. So I will keep that for another day. I've beaten Hartlepool back in the day. Memories as a Darlington FC fan, Jez. Yeah, big up. Big up to you, mate, for being a Darlington fan. Yeah, you're always in the chat. You're absolutely top man, top man. Andy says, Jez, what do you think of that clown Stefan on top of the way he's a plastic fan? Yeah, he's an absolute idiot, man. That's why I'm not going to go on there anymore. TJ Warren, bless him, used to invite me on there. All they want is Arsenal fans to kick off. The last one I was on was last week, and all it was me and him having a row, debating about his bullshit, because most of the time he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, to be honest. So yeah, Sushi says Jez hates flying like the great Dennis Bergkamp. True, mate. The only thing I can't say was I had the footballing ability of that man. That's the fact. I'm just going to highlight your comment you put in there. Jez, what was the best away ground you've been to, UK or abroad? Ooh, crikey. That's a tough one. Crikey. Best away ground. Blimey, that's got me thinking. If you're talking about atmosphere, then Newcastle. If you're talking about for a cup game, it would be the Millennium Stadium, Cardiff, 0102. I talked about that the other day. I've never been to the new Wembley, to be fair. So yeah, I can't comment on it. I'm sure it's fantastic. I've been told it's fantastic. I've never been there, man. Static says, Jez, you're just like Bergkamp. He has a flair. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. As I said, I haven't got his ability. Static says, before you go, and please don't hate me for this, could you please promote Del Boy Gunner TV's 100 short? Yeah, go and support Del Boy Gunner TV, man. Top fella. Yeah, go and support him. Nice, really nice guy. Just respect, man, for standing your ground. And we got Frankie Mustafa, Raphael Mead. Yeah, I remember him. He was crap. Wonder Left Go best stadium. I haven't been there, so I couldn't tell you, man. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, Warren, what's this with Middlesbrough? You've got a thing about Middlesbrough. I don't understand it, mate. I don't know. I'd never. It was Sunderland was the problem I had, not Middlesbrough. Please tell me another. Let's put it in the chat, man. What was it all about it? Ian Barron says, thanks, mate, for the love. Just much appreciated. Always, man. Always. I really don't like Wembley. You don't know why. Never been there. Not the new one. Never been there, so I wouldn't know, man. Tony Glord, kind of TV. Big up, Jez. Hope you're good, sir. You're well, mate. Hope you're well. Sushil says, new Wembley is lovely. It doesn't have the romance and heritage of the old Wembley. I miss it. Yeah, I used to like walking up Wembley Way and you see the old twin domed towers, you know. Pity they couldn't have kept them. So I think it's a shame, really. But it is what it is. How was the atmosphere at the old Wembley Stadium? Yeah, it's brilliant. 100,000 in there on a FA Cup final day. I don't know how many you get in there nowadays. I guess, I don't know, 100,000, I suppose. I don't know. I really don't know. Frankie says, Charlie Nicholas, Little was carp, Ian Rush, 1-0 down, 2-1 up. Yeah, I was at that. Yeah, remember that. And there we go. Anfield, Uncle Roz, how you doing, my Gooner friend? Yeah, all good, my friend. Go and support Anfield Uncle Roz. Top man. Lovely guy. Really, really great channel, man. Great channel. Have you met Lee Gunner in person? Not going to answer that one because I'll get in trouble. Tony Claude Gunner TV. Big up, Danny Legend, the great brother. God bless you. And Frank says Sunderland, Jez, Roker Park. Yeah, that was a great ground, actually. That was a really, really fantastic atmosphere. Really good atmosphere there. Great show, Jez. Thank you for always for re-educating me and educating everyone. I'll just tell you stories, man. That's what it's all about. Shane Mamma's not here tonight. I'm going to have to tell her off because I had one I was going to tell her about when Newcastle came to town at Highbury with their crew was called the Newcastle Main Line. And that's the only time I ever encountered any trouble with Newcastle. Not in Newcastle, but in London. Warren's team talk. I can't stand Jez. They hate us big time. I don't understand why, mate. I don't know why, Warren. What is that about with Middlesbrough? I don't know. I encountered it with Sunderland. Never with Middlesbrough. I remember we talked about it over 18 months ago. We talked about this, didn't we? And I got confused. I won't lie. I got confused between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. Never had a problem. Never had a problem with Middlesbrough. Well, not me personally. I mean, there was issues, obviously, as it was back in the day, but nothing's terrible that I can remember. Nothing really like serious kickoff. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that one, Warren. I'm gonna have to look into that, man, because obviously you know something I don't. Because I know you've told me a couple of stories about that, but I don't know what it could be. It must be something back in time, man, that went off. Ian says, I have been to the new Wembley in 2011. Darlington FC won Mansfield Town 0 in the FA Trophy. Final attendance 25k. Well, yeah, I mean, that's not a bad attendance, to be fair. No disrespect. Andy says, have a glass of Shiraz tonight, mate. Yeah, I've got one, mate. I've got one. And I'm looking forward to finishing off the half bottle I've got left. So thanks for that, bro. But something I always forget to do, and I get told off for this all the time. If you're new, please subscribe and please smash the likes on the channel. I always forget to do it, and I'll be honest with you, I do get told off by other YouTubers because that gets the traction out there. It gets out there, so more people. It helps the algorithm, and you know, more people come in, get it out there, and gives me the opportunity also to promote other people's channels. So that's what it's all about. We've got a great community, and you know, it's not often you get the pricks coming here. Well, we had one tonight in the Avenel Reds. Well, I must admit, I've never heard of them. Never heard of them. He must have been a one-man band. He must have been one absolute nutcase to actually be a true gooner in being the Anfield and Anvil Road Reds. Seriously, I bet he got his head kicked in many a time, being like, "Ooh, wow." We got Eros. Love your stories, Jez. True gooner, mate. I was never a gooner. Gunner. I was never a gooner. I was part of the Gunners. I never called myself a gooner because back in the day, I know people do today, and it does wind me up actually. But yeah, I did, mate. The Hartlepool story. Yeah, I mean, basically, we went there. It was League Cup. We won 2-0, and it was pretty uneventful. I was just trying to say that I can't even remember the name of their crew. There was a crew, but nothing really happened. I was just going to say what a shithole ground it was. Seriously. You got the North Sea over there, blowing a bloody hoolie. It's a crap old day. And yeah, but there was a bit of kicking off. Nothing bad, but it was what it was. But the point I was trying to make, it was exciting to go to a ground that I'd never been to before, because it's, you know, you quite often you go to the same ground season after season after season. There's only cup games occasionally you'd get the chance. You'd get the opportunity to go to a different club, because of, you know, pretty much Division 1. You have the same team season in, season out. 3 teams would come. Well, back in the 70s, 4 would go down, 4 would come up, and it was like, so. You know, it was always nice to mix it up and go to different grounds, which you always wanted to go to because it was something different. You know, you could go to Anfield year in, year out, Old Trafford year in, year out, Man City when they're in Division 1, year in, year out. Tottenham, White Hart Lane, year in, year out. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, year in, year out. You know, and it's always good. It's good fun, but going to somewhere else. Frankie says, Ayresome Park, okay, Borough's old ground. Yeah. What was it now? I can't remember what it's called now. Andy says, was it Pete? I'm pretty certain it was, man. Pretty certain it was. It says, Jez, you took care of the haters tonight. I always do, mate. I always do. You know, what? I mean, I don't get it. What clown comes in here, right, on a show where I'm talking about my experiences going back to the mid-70s, right, having known many people in the firms, the Arsenal firms, that is, knowing the guy that actually started the herd, not as a personal friend, but I knew him to talk to him, knowing the guy that took over when it went from the herd to the Gooners, knowing the guy that was the top boy there, knowing two of the other top boys in the Gooners, Sheepskin Steve, who I saw last Sunday, yeah, and who I also saw, Hendon Josh, one of the top boys in the Gooners, and also he was in the NBA, and I went to a birthday party up that way, and they were there having a good old chat with them. So, you know, they're around, but they're not active anymore. But the herd still are. They are there, but they're underground now. Frank is exactly, Jez. The word goon is becoming embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, mate, you wouldn't have dared. You would never have dared called yourself a gooner. If you called yourself a gooner and you got heard by one of them, mate, you would seriously get kicked in. If you'd be invited to join, it wasn't a closed shop. But if you called yourself a gooner, right, and you went around saying about being a gooner and you got caught out, you would seriously get a kicking, whether you were Arsenal, you know, because it was a privileged name to those that were the Arsenal firm, and you had to show respect to them, because at the end of the day, they're the ones out there, if you like, maybe the wrong way of saying this, defending the club. Because when you had the other firms coming to Highbury or away, especially when you had the likes of Millwall, West Ham, Man United, Tottenham, coming to Highbury to try and take the home end, it was them that were doing all the fighting, scrapping to keep them out, get them kicked out, you know. So, yeah, there you go. That's how it was. And it does wind me up a little bit, because I knew so many of those guys. And I have respect for them. I have respect. But as many people have asked me, was I one of them? No, I wasn't. Never part of it. Knew them, never part of it. Warren's team talks. Hartley Pool is a seriously run-down area. Yeah, not a nice place to go, to be fair. Frankie says, I was there when we got beat York City in the FA Cup away. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was, yeah, and I remember Wrexham '92 when we got done 2-1. Yeah, that was a shit day out with their front line crew. The Wrexham crew, they're called the front line crew, and they were a nasty bunch as well. If you've ever been to the racecourse ground in Wrexham, weird ground, weird ground, and yeah, it again, not a nice area particularly, pretty much run down, but yeah, it's what's that? Ian Barron, Bootham, Crescent, Frankie, Darren, the Withdean ground. That was the temporary ground for Brighton, man. The Goldston ground was the original Brighton ground where I went. My first time in a Brighton ground was the Goldston. I talked about that last week, last week, when we were being followed by the Brighton. We didn't actually, go back and watch it. I'm not going to repeat, but we made a big cock up there. Big cock up. Thought we were big and clever. and got ourselves really very nearly badly caught out. That I think is in part 1, if I remember rightly. But there we go. There we go. I'm going to wrap this up soon, people. Social S says going to Bees versus Arsenal next week as a neutral. I live 10 minutes from the ground. It's a nice stadium and atmosphere. The area used to be rough, but it's massively regenerated now. Yeah, I've never been there, man. Never been there. Come back and give us a report on it. That'd be great. That'd be great. Static says Eros blame Arsenal FC for the lack of education for every Arsenal fan. Social media, official website. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. I actually did offer 5-6 years ago to do all of this. Not maybe this, because they wouldn't want this being advertised, but do a history thing. I offered it for nothing. Nothing. Not a penny. And they deemed it as not relevant. Because there's the Arsenal Museum. Go in there. Have a day out in there. It'll take you about 25 minutes. Oregon Gunner Dow, big up to you, mate. Big up Jezza and chat. Big up to you, Dow. Good to see you, fella. Ian Bounce says, okay, Darren Darlington for me. Darlington. I don't think I've ever beaten Darlington. I don't recall it, man. Static Jez, I would have more respect for Arsenal if they had a history page where they mention the other G word on their official website. Sadly, it will never happen. No. Yeah, I mean, I've got no time for bloody Arsenal website, man. It's fucking shite. Eros Static, too much PR now. It's unfortunate. Be up yourself. Glad I got that education. Cheers, man. Right, I'm going to wrap this up, people. I haven't eaten yet today. Well, I have. I had breakfast, but I haven't eaten since. There's Racehorse Ground Wrexham 2-1. 92. Remember the game? Yeah, I remember that game very well. It was a shitty day. Arsenal lost 2-1. Mickey Thomas scored that worldie free kick, and that was a bad day out. There was a lot of very unhappy, a lot of very unhappy Arsenal fans coming out of that ground. I can tell you, and there was a fair bit of naughtiness going down. There you go. Yeah, Mickey Thomas 30-yard free kick. Remember it well. I was right behind the goal. In the away end. They think they are the original Arsenal nowadays, and anything before 2006 is irrelevant. Yep. No, that's about right, Darren. It's about right, man. Darren Sullivan says, little witch-faced Thomas. Yeah, he was a good player, in fairness. He was a decent player. But Frankie says, yes, Ian. And are you playing any golf lately, Jess? Last game I played, mate, was in beginning of September. I don't play in the winter, mate. I don't play at all in the winter. I actually had played quite a good game, actually. I was 16 over on that day. I used to play a proper handicap of around about 14.2. Can't play that now. But the course we played was pretty easy. And it was running long that day because of the weather. I don't play in the winter at all. I just don't see the point. I don't enjoy it. It's freezing cold. The ground's sodden around this area where I live. It's all clay, and the bunkers are full of bloody water. So it's all drop out and all that. Nah, not for me. I'll probably, next time I play will probably be next April when the sun's out, having a great time. So yeah, that's what it's all about. Anyway, here we go. I've got over an hour again. Static says, great show, Jez. Enjoy your night. Yep, I'm going to go and have some ham and pickle rolls. I fancy them tonight. So there you go. It is what it is. And Andy says, fair enough, fella. And England apparently are 2-0 up. Well, that's made my night. Static, that's made my night. You know, I can go to bed now singing happy that England are 2. I mean, mate, I'm not taking the piss out of you. I just can't be arsed with it all. Be quite honest with you. Be fair enough. Right, take it here, everyone. I'm going to do the outro. Thanks for watching, everybody. Smash the subs, smash the likes, and I'll catch you next week. So take care, everyone. And yeah, Kenny will be buzzing. Yeah, he'll be. I don't actually. I'm not. Kenny's sort of fallen out of love with it a bit. Actually, he was talking to me about that the other day. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is what it is. But okay, people, we're out of here. Take care. Love as always. Enjoy. Have a great weekend.